Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Wine. Welcome back to art class. Today is day 3 of our Paul Klee inspired artwork. And this week, you have an optional direction. Optional means you can do it if you want to, or if you have the supplies at home, or if you don't have watercolor supplies at home, which you will need today, you could choose another option. So this week you have choices. If you have watercolor paint, our studio session learning target tells us I will create a transparent wash of 2 colors in my background to express my feelings. So we need to look at some vocabulary words first. A transparent wash simply means that we're going to be able to see through these colors. They're going to be very light. And we have to start by deciding what colors will best show the feeling that I am trying to create. So you want to think about 2 colors, the 2 main colors, to show the feeling. And you want to think about why these 2 colors would be the best to show your feeling. So in your artwork, what you are going to need to do is, before you move on to this step, we're going to have to back up just a little bit. So think about the thumbnails that you created last week. Which one of those thumbnails do you think is your best artwork? That will tell you which thumbnail you should use this week. And if last week I decided that this was my best thumbnail, I see this uses 3 colors. This week, I want to choose 2 of those main colors for my final artwork. How do I know which colors or which thumbnail is going to be the best? Look back at the rubric that I gave you last week. Make sure that the thumbnail you are choosing has the most shows out of your thumbnails. Are your lines and colors abstract? Do the lines fill the page and create balance? Are the colors balanced? Did you use neatness when you were drawing your lines and when you were coloring? And especially the last one, creativity. Were you able to use lines and color clearly to express a feeling? And did you design and arrange your lines in an interesting way? Now, once you have done that, you are ready to move on. Paul Klee did a lot of work with color. This is, in fact, a page from one of Paul Klee's sketchbooks. You can see that he made a lot of notes in his sketchbook. He was using these notes when he was teaching his students about his color ideas. So color was super important to Paul Klee. Once you are ready, then you can watch the next video where I will demonstrate every single step you need to take to create your background. After you have chosen your colors, you will be wetting your entire paper. You're going to add the first color and use lots of water to spread it around. You're going to work to make sure you keep the colors light and transparent. Transparent means you can see through those colors. Then you'll be adding the second color. When you're adding that second color, make sure you're working to balance your colors. Do you have some of the color on the top, some on the bottom, some on the left, and some on the right? You want to make sure that your whole paper is covered and balanced. You can see that in Paul Klee's artwork, his background colors are balanced. I see orange at the top, orange in the middle, orange at the bottom, on the left, and on the right. So that's what we're trying to do with our colors. He did the same thing with the yellow. Once you are finished with your background, you're going to let it dry and save it for next week. But what if you don't have watercolors at home? That's okay too, and you're not going to be left out of art this week. If you do not have watercolors, it's perfectly okay. Remember, I said this step was optional. So if you don't have watercolors, there are two other activities you could do this week. First of all, you have to decide which activity you want to do. Remember, Paul Klee made over 10,000 artworks. So he didn't just make abstract drawings that showed feelings. Sometimes he made a cityscape. A cityscape is a painting or a drawing of a city. So if you want to know how to make a cityscape inspired by Paul Klee, you are going to watch this first video and follow the directions to do a cityscape of your own. One of Paul Klee's other famous artworks is of a cat. Remember, we saw the cat in the video where we were first being introduced to Paul Klee. So if you want to make an artwork with a cat or an animal inspired by Paul Klee, you're going to watch the second video. So you're either making your watercolor background, or you're making a cityscape, or you are making an animal. You do not have to do all three. Just pick one of the options. Then when you're finished, you can take a photo and send that photo to me here on Google Classroom or share it in Dojo. I hope you have a wonderful week, and as always, keep on creating.